Graffiti grew out of the need for young people to be able to express themselves in environments where there were fewer opportunities to do so. Kia ora, my name's Ruben Woods. I'm an Otatahi-based writer and curator. My specialty area is in the fields of graffiti and street art and urban art. There's just a lack of understanding about how things happen and how things are done. If you think about most people's perception of graffiti often varies between hating tagging and quite liking the bigger pieces and productions. Often there's a lack of understanding around what actually tagging reflects and represents. Most people who tag write that tag thousands and thousands and thousands of times. They know exactly what they're doing and what they're trying to achieve. The difference is that in the streets, there's no sort of filter. Like if you go into an art gallery or an art museum, you're seeing the high watermark of an artist's work that's developed over decades. On the streets, you might see someone's first ever tag that they've put up, and then all of a sudden you're making a value judgment on the appearance of that first tag.
I think they really like the pieces, but they absolutely hate tagging basically. But what they don't understand is it started there and ends up here, and it takes time to get good. And if there's no places to do it, then you're never going to get good. Hey, I'm Alpha One, and I'm from Christchurch. Just at school with a dude named Sento, got me into it, got me started, just interested in all the colours and shapes and stuff, and I was already a good drawer, so it made sense.
Some of the challenges that I believe wouldn't necessarily relate to graffiti in itself, but the things that come along with it. So like there's been a lot of nights, I've had a lot of late nights, early mornings, times where you would go out and risk yourself getting either hurt or getting arrested. Kia ora, I'm Dros. I'm from Christchurch, New Zealand. Born and bred on the east side, grew up in Linwood. I've had situations where I've painted something and I've gone to get a photo in the morning and I see the council there water blasting it off. I remember when that happened, it made me lose more sleep because I would stay up later to paint and then I'd get up earlier to get the photos. And over time it gets very taxing on your energy, yeah.
There was like a damaged building down the bottom and a big one at the top, and then I sat in the car with like a walkie-talkie while he was up on the roof of a building, and I was telling him when to lie down when the cars were coming past. I'm originally from Wanaka, now I live in Christchurch. When I was young, I moved to Christchurch when I was about 10, and then I moved from like a rural town into a big city, and I saw a lot of graffiti and alleyways and that sort of thing, and then I was just inspired by it.
People sinking to the lows. You seem to see the eyes of the devil in the people that you know. I'm quite surprised that they're meddle and eager to keep it low. See, I seen people get pissed and tear up the whole house. The bloody knuckle popping the charge just for a cold stout. The best scenario is to lose your license, the others to lose your life in pursuit with the red and blues behind you. But if you puffin', nothing is gonna happen. Nothing but a discussion of
So the original summit was in Christchurch. The Aotearoa Hip Hop Summit started in 2000 from DJ Ali, and that was when the hip hop scene in New Zealand was just simmering. It was really ready to blow up, and it was just all timing. It was the perfect time. Somehow that he got everyone from all around New Zealand to come to Christchurch on their own accord. DJ Infrared from Christchurch, New Zealand, and I think everyone was just they were just down with the kaupapa and knew what it was about and knew what was about to happen. So it was the first time where you had everyone that was a graffiti artist, breakdancer, DJ, rapper, or just a hip-hop nerd in New Zealand, just all fly down to Christchurch and put them in the one room together, got to meet each other, connect, network.
There might have been one of the first like big graffiti walls that got painted, which was back at Waltham Park. There was probably 15 to 20 of us or something, maybe painting painting on the day. I wrote Icarus, DTR crew, from Christchurch, New Zealand. There was a photo circulating on the internet, 20 or maybe 40 people sitting in the stairwell in the middle of the city that's from that summit. P-Money is in that photo, the Decepticons are in that photo, Dawn Raid Entertainment are in there, Decipher and myself are in there, Triple S crew from Wellington are in the photo. So it's literally a really solid selection of pioneering or really foundational New Zealand hip hop personalities. At least half of those people now make their living from hip hop.
When I first came 19 years ago, I wasn't interested in doing graph. I met Decipher and he asked me to come and work with him at Project Legit. I was a new dad, so I had to turn the offer down. My name's Pops. I'm from Nottingham in England. Yeah, when I came back 14, 15 years ago, I decided that I wanted to use my art to make my money. That's what I wanted to do for a living. So I did go, I was spotting walls. There were walls around and I approached a few people, but I think 2010, I went and asked the landlord, can I paint your wall? Can I do an Aroha piece on there? And he was like, can you do it in English? Yeah, I was like, yes, please. I would love to paint the world love. Same thing as Aroha, but in English. So did that. Halfway through doing it, the quakes happened.
There was a sense that, I guess, graffiti pre-quake was necessary because Christchurch still had that stuffy kind of, I guess, I've heard an artist say a sort of more industrial feel. It was a bit more brick and mortar and sort of tighter alleyways and stuff like that, and there were lots of spots, but it was a different feeling city. And then I think the earthquakes changed that completely. It created a very different type of environment for people to make their work in, whether that was the immediate post-quake environment where it was, everything was broken, there were fewer people around, the opportunity was widespread.
Before the earthquakes, it was very limited because I was a young dude and a lot of the older people didn't really like people going out and painting over them and stuff like that, so it was kind of hard. But when the earthquakes hit, a lot of people had left, and then I kind of had an open playground to myself, I believe.
There were so many abandoned buildings, knocked down lots on the corners and stuff. It's just it made so many more areas that just naturally attract graffiti.
The whole city was cordoned off at first, so it was quite slow, but the walls were there. Do you know what I mean? So I think people started thinking more about the opportunities we had. I think a lot of dreams started flowing because of all the big walls that became available. And then over the next few years, it took off.
So for the art side of it, I think it made people a lot more open to seeing art in public places because there was so much destruction and devastation around. I know a lot of people said that even just seeing regular graffiti in a lot of those abandoned areas made it feel like there was at least some life left in the city. There were still people out there doing things even before it became a lot of the big murals. But I think a lot of the big graffiti and street art murals and stuff wouldn't have taken off so hard if it wasn't for the earthquake.
Post-quake, there's almost another sense of optimism because you're part of a recovery process, and that changes the way you can think about it a little bit.
A lot more opportunities for artists. With the city being shut down and heaps of stuff being demolished, there was a lot more illegal graffiti. Kia ora, ko express tōku ingoa, Ngāti Maru, Te Iwi and Otatai is my city. With festivals and stuff since the quakes, it's put up a lot more walls and given a lot more exposure for the public to see quality graffiti from local artists and international artists.
Some of the biggest ones, obviously Rise and the Spectrum shows in the early and mid 2010s were huge, like I say, because they were really pivotal for a lot of public perception changing. Obviously recently, Flare was super awesome.
I was approached by George due to the fact that I'd approached him about another project I really wanted to do with my friend Kofi, who is also a street artist. And I really wanted to do like a hip hop summer event. And then I heard that Red was already organising one anyway. So I was like, oh, cool. And then George talked about Flair. And I was really fortunate to lead that in 2022. Kia ora, I'm Selena Kaimalo. I am the project manager of Flair Otatahi Street Art Festival. I am a UK-born Samoan and I have lived in Otatahi for the past 12 years.
Yo.
Flair is a 10-day event where we have 7 headlining artists paint large-scale murals. And we have other walls painted throughout the city, as well as a graffiti jam and other activations throughout the 10 days. And it's just a great way for the city to get behind the art that's there. I think people see the art once it's done, but the festival, it celebrates the process, the people. It's just really cool to be able to support artists on their journey and make really awesome shit happen in the city.
I started my role as creative director of Watch This Space 2018. Watch This Space is an urban arts trust based here in Otatahi. Our goal, basically, is to celebrate, champion art in the streets here and in wider Aotearoa as well, providing a platform for the art but also the artists to tell their stories, to create a bridge between the art and the artist and the audience who see the art but don't necessarily know the stories or the motivations. We can make people aware of, the fact that a lot of times the art in the streets we're seeing is born out of important social scenarios and situations, and often those things are overlooked in favour of an easier discourse. But then also I think it's allowed an evolution that's made for quite a well-developed graffiti scene. And when I'm talking with visiting artists who have come from out of town, they're always amazed at what's going on here and the strength of the scene for what is still a relatively small city.
Like if graffiti vandalism became completely legal tomorrow, I think it would take away a little bit of the fun and excitement from it. There's sort of a good weird adrenaline rush and stuff of doing stuff, getting over and sticking it to the man and doing your shit.
Hopefully there will be more space for graffiti and graffiti walls and graffiti jams, and not have Christchurch full of just commissioned murals.
Without graffiti, we don't have contemporary muralism, we don't have urban contemporary practice, we don't have even street art. I mean, street art, for some people, it's called post-graffiti. Not because graffiti died, but because it came after graffiti. It may not look the same, but the act of making art in the streets comes back to what those young people writing graffiti did before it spread around the world.
I guess that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep the culture alive and then show these young ones that you can actually do something with it.
All the old heads still go hard, and then there's so much talent coming up. Yeah, it should be good.
Because this is a culture that needs to be directed by those who are in it and not sort of dictated to by outside forces. And I think as long as we have people who respect traditions but also have an eye looking forward, then the city will be in good hands.
One time for the hometown, I got love for it, that's real. 2 times for the haters, man, cause I notice how this shit feel. 3 times for my family, dog, cause this shit done paid our bills. And I get 4 times my net worth from a year ago with no deals. Did it all by myself, I don't need nothing. Dropped 100 songs, I'ma keep coming. Remember times they wouldn't reply, now they all hit me like they need something. Labels hit me, now they see something, but I told them all, you ain't seen nothing. I've been putting all the work in, if you ain't sawing with me, you ain't read nothing. How it is, I don't make the calls. Gas it up, shit about to blow, make a million. I got a million flows, I'm a million shit with a million goals. Time ticking, not hear it, dawg. I don't say it, but I seen it all. Seen a post and I seen a hate, so when it hit me now, I ignore the calls. No time for it, just being honest. Way back, I said I got it. Same guy, same shit, nothing changed. Set the pockets, money came, I got the profits. Bet it all, put it on us. In the past, I said I'm next, but I'm here now. I was being honest. One time for the hometown, I got love for it, that's real. 2 times for the haters, man, cause I noticed how this shit feel. 3 times for my family, dog, cause this shit done paid our bills. And I get 4 times my net worth from a year ago with no deal.